To go live, and hopefully that means everything will go live from the beginning here. We'll see how it's doing. We've already got some people who are checked in. Let's see, Rasmin Poirian says, good evening, everyone from Chandler, Arizona. Hope everyone's doing well. It's KK7APQ. And Optical Man Jeff is here, KE0OG. Hi, Dave, and all Augies from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, where it is 50 degrees. That's from Jeff. Let's see, it is 36 here. We had quite the snowstorm last night. Woke up to about 8 inches on the ground. Heavy, wet snow. Let's see how much has melted. The thing says we've got a half-inch equivalent rain into the rain gauge today. Much of the snow that fell last night is already melted, so that's great. I'm hoping for a nice, clear Monday because that's my next chance to fly with Dennis. So we'll see how that goes. Short pants and t-shirt weather in New Orleans, good. And let's see. Terrence 2 Echo 0 India Papa Kilo says, hi Dave, thanks for answering my daughter's Air Force question. See, she was quite interested in one particular maneuver in World War II, which was the English Dam Busters attack, which actually was successful, and then it turned out it didn't do what they had hoped it had done, but it had busted the dams. It was successful in that. Okay, let's see. Ralph Leland says, hi, Dave and everyone, K4TA in Fork Union, Virginia. And Bob Darlington says, Eve, Dave, and the Augies. Jesse says, good evening, Dave. Bob from N3XKB in Los Alamos. It's not all that far away, actually. LocosDel136.org. WP4 JLZ in Puerto Rico. Hat Stuff KO4LEM says, hi everyone. John S. I from John W2JLS in Fairlawn, Ohio. Bill Malman says, hello again from Gray, Tennessee. Had 3 inches of snow Tuesday. Yeah. It's the time of year it can do anything in March. It can be a beautiful day, it can be a terrible day, and it can all happen in the same day. So, let's see. Peter O says, good evening from New Hampshire. Life and Death's at 36 degrees Fahrenheit, and our UPS carriers still wear shorts. It has become a contest versus FedEx. Oh, golly. Russell K4QPR says, happy St. Patrick's Day, and it is. I've got my green t-shirt on underneath my official OG shirt today. And Danny Bryant says, good evening, Dave, from Arkansas, W5CI. Tony K1AMT says, howdy, y'all. One Piston says, Dave built a dipole from EMT conduit galvanized steel. It tuned up perfect on the analyzer. Any downsides to using galvanized steel? No. Steel is not the best conductor of electricity, believe it or not. You're better off with copper or aluminum. So you will be spending some of that as heat. But if galvanized steel is what you have, use it. Okay, Steve Mitchell says, hi Dave, love your vids. KE8SEV says, best wishes. Vince Hedlund checking in from Riverton, Wyoming. K6VOH. Tony K1AMT says, happy St. Patrick's Day, as do I. Dennison Wells, KI7CSN at Kingman, Arizona, 64 degrees. Good, very nice. Harry Rundle says, hi Dave, from Harry AC3EK in Baltimore, Maryland. Last night At our Aero Amateur Radio Club meeting, we presented 2 of your latest videos. Enjoyed them. Well, very good. And anybody who wants to show one of my videos, whether it be instructional or not, at your club, please feel free to do so. My preference is that you do it directly from the internet, because that way YouTube gives me credit for the views, but whatever you need to do. This is Daniel McKay. Hi Dave, love your videos. KD2YUC in Long Island, New York. Greg Culbreth, N7OVR says hello. Don Z says hello from Minnesota. It's thawing up there. KC0DWZ. This is ADHD Life says hello from Oregon. KK7AQN. Life and Death says IIRC. The man behind the dam buster concept also developed the bombs used to vertically penetrate 5 meters of reinforced concrete over submarine pens successfully. Yes, I know personally the guy who developed the bomb used in Iraq that penetrated the bunker that ended up having all the children in it. So that, he says that was not one of his high points. Hello, Dave and Noggies from Northern Illinois. Made it to 73 today. That's cool. Justin White, KI5PIQ from Oklahoma. Good you're having a good evening. Marilyn says, howdy from Tulsa. No call sign yet, just a hack RF1 and a desire to learn. We'll go to, and I'll show this, the screen is working tonight. So I'll give you a URL to go to if you're brand new. Okay, www.KE0OG.net/training. There's where somebody who's brand new and would like to learn more can start there. There's a video right on the page that you can play. I'll show it to you here. Let's see, we'll go to screen and go to Casler. And come down over here to Technician. Okay, and this puts us in the page on Technician. There's a video that you can play right here, and all the videos are down here. So you get the book. This is the book, the Ham Radio License Manual, okay? And you come to, for each section in the book, not each chapter, but each section in the book, there's a separate video. And the idea is to view the video first, then read the material, and then see that you're comfortable with all the questions that are in there. By the way, these videos are currently available on the ARRL public YouTube channel. So all the tech videos are available to everybody. Now the general and extra videos, which you can also get to from my site here, if you go up to general, for example, right here, it'll have the link to all the videos. However, these are on a website, and I'll show you what that website is. This is the website for the technician. And so there's 2 other websites. And the nice thing about using these websites is it gives you something to kind of check your progress. www.KE0OG.net/general and /extra. Now the site that this will take you to is learn.arrl.org. So you use your ARRL credentials to sign in there. Then once you're signed in, you can use this list of links. Or you can go directly into, and let me show it here on the screen, go to learn.arrl.org. Okay, and this is the Learning Center here, and it's in the On the Air section. Okay, and it's got emergency communications, electronics technology. I think we need to sign in, log in. Okay, and I will log in using my league credentials. Okay, and now we'll go back to the front. Nothing on the internet is fast anymore. There we go, maybe. Okay, my activity, courses. You've got Amateur Radio License Course Technician, which is available outside, or you can do it here, General and Extra. If you go into Learning Paths, On the Air is where they are, and you'll see the Technician course here. Okay, and then somehow they've stuck the General and Amateur Extra down over here. But if you go into these, they have the videos available, and they've got the video number and then what section in the manual that covers. For example, power and decibels here, you go to that section and go to that section, and there it is. Okay, it's loading the video. Okay, and just start the video, and it'll give you everything that you need.
I'm Dave Casler, amateur radio call sign KE0OG,
Okay,
and I'm your
I know
guide
that, actually.
through the ARRL General Class.
There we go. Okay, so that tells you a little bit about how to get through with that. Okay, let's go back to the comments here. Dave, going to Oshkosh this year? Not this year. I'm kind of keeping it in mind for next year. I do plan to go to Dayton this year, so you should see me there. And if I'm hanging around anywhere, it'll be hanging around the ARRL booth, which is in one of the buildings there. But I'm also going to be taking in the Hamfest, of course, the Hamvention. Okay, so that was for MD, where to go to get that. Watching the show for England, and Mike Oswald says hello to all the Augies from AE7MO. James McDonough is from England. Jesse, do you have a recommendation for a first 70 centimeter 2-meter antenna? If it's going to be for your car, MFGA makes a simple magnetic. It's got a magnet on the bottom, so it'll sit in the center of your roof of the car, as long as it's metal and not plastic. And then you can just bring that in the window and attach it to your handheld or to your mobile. If you want something for on the roof, there's a million available. Let's just go to MFJ. Just as an example, no, let's do something different. I always go to MFJ. Let's go to Arrow Antenna. Arrow Antenna. Okay, Arrow Antennas, and let's look for a solid element Yagi, quarter wave ground planes. Well, let's just see what these have got. Okay, we've got dual band. Okay, and see if they got a picture of it. Yeah, they got a picture of it here. Okay, so this is an example of one that you can get. There are lots available. There's Arrow antennas. There's Diamond antenna. And they've got them too. Let's see what their website looks like. Well, maybe we'll say, here it is. Okay. This is an example of one of their gain antennas. So we want Jeff Screwdriver, mobile antennas, products, or is this the product page? Okay, monoband, dual band, mobile antennas, mobile mounts, duplectors, HF and HT antennas, accessories, wireless, technical data. Okay, VHF and UHF base antennas. Okay, here is a dual antenna stacking boom. Well, we don't need to stack anything here. Let's see if we can find just a VHF and UHF antenna here without spending a lot of money. There we go. Okay. Here's an antenna for VHF. Well, I'm not doing a whole lot of good if I don't have the screen on. Okay. Anyway, dual band base receiver antenna. It says order online from online dealers, so they don't sell directly. So let's go to, well, let's just go to DX Engineering. DX Engineering, we're going to put, let's see, where's their search? Right there. Okay, we're going to search for VHF multi-band base and see what we get out of this. Okay, so these are VHF, UHF mobile verticals. Let's go to VHF, UHF base antennas. Okay, here's one that's in a disc cone. This is a disc cone. Okay, there are lots of other things that we can take a look at. Okay, and so you've got, let's get rid of this keyword because I think it's slowing us down here. We've got a bunch of different antennas, and a lot of them are disc cone-ish. Okay, and you can find one that you like. DX Engineering is a major store that sells retail, and they aggregate from lots and lots of different people. Okay, so let's go back to normal. Let's see. Okay, where were we here? Baton Rouge, B61. Hi, Dave from W0CAH, Marshalltown, Iowa. Okay, howdy from KB8NOU in Elkins, West Virginia. Hello, everyone from Quartzsite. Hello, Quartzsite. WN60JX. I was there a couple months ago. Spent the day programming new ham radios. Okay, good. So glad for the time change. Dave is on 1 hour before our ClubNet. Oh, yes. Good, because they don't change to daylight savings time down there. One of my students said they needed to open an account to see the tech videos. No, that is not true. If you use the URL that I gave you right here, this takes you to the videos that are on their external YouTube channel. They're also available at learn.arrl.net, but these are outside. Now, the general and the extra are, you do have to log in. One way to think about it is this. I used to, a lot of people would buy the amateur extra little memory stick, thumb drive from me with all the extra videos on it. And it was $49.99, which happens to be 4 cents more than membership in the ARRL. So, just spend that money on getting into the ARRL. Okay, Harry Strallendorf says, hi, Dave. Best wishes from New Jersey, from W3DNQ. We're Sovereign says, hi, Dave. I've watched so many of your videos. They're great. And MD says the websites are bookmarked. Very good. Glenn Martin, hello, always says hi from Far West Missouri and 0QFT. Chuck Schreiber, good evening, Dave, and all loggies from Chuck N5 KVO in South Texas. Oh, bummer, have to leave and go to a company Teams broadcast. This time of night? Wow. Hi, Dave. W6GY says hi. Jason Heff says hello, Dave, and everyone from KN4ZUN in South Carolina. Let's see, Jose Luis. And I don't know if the G is Giordano or Giordano. Many greetings from Curacao in central Chile. Your videos are very useful for the way you ground your knowledge, experience, and practicality. Thank you. Neil Marsh says Arrow makes decent gear. Yes, they do. If a cop sees you with an HT in your hand, you're probably going to get pulled over thinking an HT is a cell phone. That's where it's helpful to have a radio that's a mobile, because you've got a hand mic like this. That's clearly not a HT. The laws vary enormously from state to state. If you have ham radio plates, it really helps. Things like that. So, yeah, I'd recommend putting a mobile radio in there. Okay, Life and Death says, Dave, a lot of guys complain that the grit under mag mounts scratches their paint. It does. Always use a clean paper towel and spray to clean the base and metal so that there will be no damage. That is absolutely true. Don't just plunk it up there, because it hits that thing pretty hard. Clean it with water, okay, so you're not just making mud. Clean it with water, rinse it really well, let it dry completely, because you don't want water under there. Put that thing down and you should be in good shape. Okay, says, hi Dave from rainy Victoria, British Columbia. Yeah, I've heard you guys have gotten plastered with atmospheric river after atmospheric river. Can be pretty bad. Happy St. Patty's Day. Hello, Dave and group from here in West Virginia. Hello. Love DX Engineering and Summit Racing, just up the highway from me in Ohio. Yeah, I'd love to go visit there. Looking at Diamond CP5H5 band trap vertical antenna. That'd be an HF antenna, I presume. Dan Martin, KB8TLU in Goodrich, Michigan. Life and Death says, you're right, it happens even when the laws exempt ham radios. Bluetooth should be considered mandatory. It will be cheaper than a ticket. The radio, what is it? The Anytone D8, UD8, whatever. It's the 878 UV plus, whatever it is. You can get it from Bridgecom Systems. I think they're in Missouri. And they support their radios. They'll give you training and answer your questions and stuff. They have Bluetooth. I tried to make it work with an early one, wasn't able to. I have a new truck now. I should try that again. Okay. And Al Wilson, KN60JX. Yes, we spoke after the VNA class. By the way, it's starting to get hot. 90 today. 90. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's a little warm. In this room that I'm in right now gets quite warm in the summertime. Not the least of which is because I get this big computer in here that's basically a space heater. So I had a split unit put in here just for this room. The house has central air, but Loretta hates it. So I just have air conditioning here in this room, and it's extremely quiet because it's a split unit. And it works really well. Out in her studio, which is a shed that we've converted, she has another split unit there that's also a heat pump. So she can heat that place out there. Save a lot of money on that too. Let's see, we spoke Saskatoon, DE Victor Echo 5 RS. The Smoking Ape is here. Hello, how are you? Al Wilson, KN6OJX in Arizona. Yeah, they have hand plates. I do too. On the truck that I drive, I have KE0OG, and on the Subaru that my wife drives, that's sort of the Colorado state vehicle, all-wheel drive all the time. That's how we get up the hill in the winter, like specifically today. We had a Prius, but it would get stuck coming up the hill when it was snowy. But the Subaru just motors right on up the hill. Anyway, she's KB0VWW. Let's see, Saskatoon, howdy. Let's see, N4CLY amateur radio, but the mag mount stick on the vinyl sticker, it keeps the grid out. Yeah. Sir Isaac Newton, hi from Brazil. Several people saying hi to Ape. Hat tip to the Smoking Ape, absolutely. Mr. Smoking Ape, we need to do a collaborative video. Interview each other for our channels or something like that. John S. Stepping from 3 to 4 dB gain in mobile antenna. How much range gain can I expect? Well, that is... Now, are you stepping from, say, 3 to 4, or are you now at 3 going to 4? 3 to 4 is a very, very small difference. Going from 0 to 3 or something like that will increase your range by about the square root of 2, about 1.4 times. If you live in a perfectly flat city where all the houses are underground and they don't get in the way of your signal. Otherwise, it will help a little bit. It'll help you get to some of the repeaters. Let's see. Can I put 2 vertical antennas, UHF, VHF, on the same 30-foot mast? You wouldn't want to. Go ahead and get one of those that I showed you from, I think, Comet Antenna, or was it Diamond? What they do is they stack them for you, and you get gain. There's another kind of antenna that looks like this. It's a weird-looking thing. This is a standard repeater antenna. It comes out like this, and it's a racetrack like that. Okay? It's 2 meters. You can do the same thing for 70 centimeters. These are not dual band antennas. But you can put another one up here on top, and another one down here. Or you can put them over on the other side to get some coverage over there. These tend to be directional in this direction. That one would be directional in that direction. Now, you can buy antennas, base antennas that are quite tall, that they really have multiple verticals in them. But the thing about this racetrack antenna, it's a commercial antenna, and a commercial design rather, and you can push your signal in the direction that you want it, because the mast acts as a kind of a reflector for that. Now, here's how it does its magic. If your pattern for your antenna looks like this, with just one antenna, okay, here is your pattern for having 2 of those antennas. It will go out kind of more like that, and it flattens the beam, flattens it. Okay, so you can get about 3 dB gain on each side. This goes all the way around, of course. But that's how you work when you stack these antennas vertically. You flatten the pattern. You flatten the pattern so it goes out more. Okay. So that's just one thing to think of when you're doing these. He bought a 6-meter antenna for his birthday. Well, good luck with that. Things are starting to happen on 6 meters. There always seems to now be at least a little FT8 on 6 meters. Turn me on to Nano VNA. Yeah, the Nano VNA, if you are are a Linux type of person and you don't mind going through menus and stuff like that, the Nano VNA is the least expensive antenna tuner there is. But, by the way, that's the giveaway for the month. It's not a Nano VNA, but an antenna analyzer. And I have this now. I do have a page active on my website. My website is dcasler.com. Okay, and if you go dcasler.com/giveaway, it will tell you all the instructions for how to enter. Okay, and this is the March 2022 giveaway, which will be given away on the first live stream in April. Okay, so I'll cut off the collection point on the 31st of March, okay? Anything that comes after that will go into the next month's once. Okay, after you can't keep it perpetually, otherwise I'd have mail up to the ceiling here. But this is what I'm giving away. It's a very nice antenna analyzer, and it has a USB port on it, and you can hook that to your computer. There's some software that goes with it that you can look at the charts and anything you want on the screen, and it's just particularly good that way. Very, very nice antenna tuner. So anyway, that's the giveaway for this month. Okay, Smoking Ape said he'd love to. He's going to shoot me an email. Great. Hi, Dave from Erie, Pennsylvania, KB3ZVH. Birthday is Saturday. He got a 6-meter antenna. Preferred an end-fed halfway from Ballon Designs to go with the TX500. All I need now is coax. Coax is amateur radio coax. You almost have to go to an amateur radio dealer to get 50 ohm coax. You can get RG6, which is 75 ohm coax, at any Home Depot, Lowe's, whatever, because it's satellite TV, cable TV type stuff. I'm going to have to get some and do some experiments with it because it is so much cheaper than RG8X or something like that. You can also go to a communications outfit, somebody who does mobile radio for companies and things like that. They'll sometimes have 50 ohm cable. Your best bet, I'd avoid Amazon unless you know the vendor. Coax USA, or is it USA Coax? I can never remember. You can get it from Ham Radio Outlet, DX Engineering, all sorts of places, either with or without connectors on the end. The advantage to having the connectors already on it is you don't have to worry about that. I've never had a coax connector go on easily. I've always had some little glitch. But the problem is when you want to run it through the wall, you've got to drill a hole big enough for the coax connector. Now the problem with drilling, it's about the size of a dime. The problem with drilling a hole that size is a mouse can get through. So what a lot of people do is they want to drill like a 1/4 inch hole and push their RG8X or something like that through so that it completely fills up the hole so they keep the insects and the vermin from getting in. Okay. So, you know, whatever works for you. I buy bulk usually. Although when I set up the reference station here, I actually purchased the cable that I recommended it. I haven't installed it anywhere. I've got it in the closet, but I could use it, probably should use it for some antenna tuning. Okay, let's see. Sadly, in the big cities, hand plates mean I've got something worth stealing. Break my window, please. I got to tell you a story. Many years ago, when I had just become a single parent and had 2 kids that were with me half the time, which meant they were with me almost all the time, because that's where they always ended up, was at my house. Well, my house was burgled, and the Louisville, Colorado police explained to me what was going on. They did catch the guy, but didn't do any good. Of course, didn't get anything back because they ship all that stuff to Mexico and sell it down there. And this is how they support their families down there. They come up. If they do end up going to prison for a while, fine. They get out, go back down there with their families, turn around, come back and do it over again. So he stole all my, my nice appliances. I didn't have any nice appliances. He stole a microwave oven. That was the one that really was the worst. He stole a microwave oven because I'm a single parent. I got to feed 2 kids, and I don't have a microwave. I went down and got one the next day. But he stole my computer. He stole, printers, things like that. He stole a leather jacket that I had. And he left behind my ham radio gear. And I was hurt that what was so valuable to me wasn't valuable to him. Now, he, of course, is interested in what can be sold very quickly. And ham radio gear doesn't fall in that category. So he was a teenager, but he was very bright as far as being a burglar. I guess no morals, but he knew what he wanted, what he could sell, and so on. And he didn't take my ham radio gear. It was a very nice little Yaesu FT747 was my gear at the time. And he didn't take it. I was heartbroken. I thought, ham radio is important to me. Why isn't it important to you? Anyway, that's something to take a look at. Did you make videos covering grid tracker used with WSJTX and ICOM RSBA1 for remote control of the latest HF rigs? I have not purchased the ICOM RSBA1 software. I don't know why they feel they have to charge for that, but I did get Win for ICOM Suite, and it works fine with the 7300. Plus, you get the waterfall, and you could hook it up to the internet and all that sort of stuff like that. Grid tracker used with WSJTX. I use a piece of software with it called JT Alert for WSJTX, because if you're running WSJTX and JT Alert and the N3FJP logging software, it hooks everything together. So if I do something on WSJTX and I say hit log it, it goes into my all contact log. And then that way it goes very easily onto Logbook of the World and things like that. But that's what I use for that. I haven't done anything to connect that sort of thing with the 7300, although the 7300 works really well. Let's see, I buy all my two-way boxes from them. By the way, I trade you poker chips for a coffee cup. Trying to think. I've looked at my let's just go to my page, studio, okay, and content, and we'll pick one here that's public now. This one about the new 7-band Cobweb antennas turned out to be very popular. But if I go to this video page, if I can click it just right there, and then I go hit it here, you got to hit it here so you actually get on YouTube. Come on. This is how a viewer would see the page. Okay, we're not going to do that. We did get it assembled, by the way. It's assembled, it's in the backyard, it's ready to go up. It'll go up next video. Okay, so this video with the terrible color cast here is supposed to have a little spot here where you can buy merchandise. And it disappeared. Now, I sold so little merchandise and I can't even remember the name of the company. I'll have to go look for it. But there is a coffee cup available if you want it. Do I have one? No, it's not in here. It must be out in the kitchen. I got myself a coffee cup. It just has the OG logo on it. I'll have to get that thing put back up there. They keep most of the money. You can get t-shirts with this logo. You can get t-shirts with the back where it says "Ask Me About Ham Radio." And a few other things like that. And I hardly make any money on it, so which is why I haven't pursued it not being here. But, whoops, I forgot to go to screen again. Okay, it should be right in here, but it isn't. I'll get it back there. Very few people have bought merch. I may be putting the wrong things up there. Tip Spring, it's now spring.com. Is anything going to come up? No. Obviously that's the wrong one. I'll have to go figure it out. Okay, but anyway, there's supposed to be a spot right in here where there are some merchandise available. It's supposed to be. Okay, now we can go back to normal view. I'm sorry, I keep hitting that live streaming. We want to get down here to make vinyl stickers for mag mounts that cover the magnet. That's a good idea. However, recall that there's a piece of foil on the bottom of these mag mounts, and the idea is you want to get that pretty close to the metal because it capacitively couples to the metal of the roof and uses the roof as a counterpoise. Okay, so, oh, James Totten has put $10 into the chat revenue, our first this evening. All right, let's see, stuff. The hole with steel wool, the mice won't get through that. Yes, true. Bulkhead connectors are the correct mouse-proof way to get through walls. There's a WF7 Metal Works or something. Works. Not too many people are using that. It's KF7. There we go. Okay, let's get over to screen here. This is KF7P Metalworks, and they make these, and there are a bunch of them here. These have got a place to mount your lightning arresters and stuff. N6GR's entry panel, note the OG right there. That's because I made this video. He's showing off his entrance panel here. And there's one right, let's see, let's come up a little bit. This one right here. I'm thinking very seriously of getting them. They're not the cheapest in the world, okay? Because you have to add money to put in the all the different things that are in there. But they do make for a very neat, nice situation, which I don't have right now, because the grass likes to grow up around my ground rod. And then I have to trim it all back in order to get to the lightning arresters and so on. I'll have to be doing that early this spring. But they are available. They're expensive, but they are available. A few $100s each. So I don't have one. I just bring in the cables, come under the house into the crawl space, and then up through the floor and into the shack. That's how I get the cables in. And it's a little bit of a pain every time I want to change a cable or something. But it does works very, very well. Very low noise environment out here where we live. Okay, let's take a look. We'll go back to the screen here. We'll go back to normal view. Let's see here. Bulkhead connectors, EWI from Bristol, UK, M7CUN. KN6OJX, don't worry, Dave, I'd take the 747, yeah. I was looking at this week, it was so frustrating. I purchased Microsoft Flight Simulator, had a heck of a time downloading it, downloaded it, then it wouldn't run on my computer. And I have come to discover that my computer, which is a Windows 10 machine, will not run Windows 11, and therefore would not run Microsoft. I'll just put this screen right here. We'll move this over a little bit, and then move it over here and do PC health check. Okay, this is PC health check. Is it going to go over that area or not? No, it's not. I can't show it to you. Oh well, but anyway, when I check Windows 10, it says this PC must support secure boot. And I have played and played and played and played with the settings in BIOS to get it to support secure boot, but it won't do it. So I'm going to have to get a new machine at some point. This is a really fast gaming machine, so you'd think it would run that, but it won't update to Windows 11 for me. I even was talking with the Microsoft tech on the process. It just let's see. Neil Mars says 26 years as a street cop, never took a car prowl report with hand gear taken. They can't fence it because there's a small market. Car stereos, CBs, guns, yes. Ham gear, nope. I've had people ask me, do you keep a gun at home? And I go, no, I don't. I'm bipolar. Bipolar people shouldn't have guns. And they said, well, what's going to protect you if somebody comes in the house? I says, well, wait a minute. The reason that people want in the house is they want the gun. So if I tell them there's no gun here, there's no point to break in. Okay, so, okay, correction on the Edge, ordered it from Ballon Designs, great. Looks like you feel much better now. Glad to have you back at full strength. I do feel much better at this point. And there's an inhaler that I'm using. And for whatever reason, I had stopped using this budesonide. It's an inhaler. The little packages here, you put it in the inhaler, and the little air pump makes a lot of noise, and I inhale it. And when I do that regularly, I do feel much, much better. So I've fixed it up. I've got a method now to make sure that I make it better. Let's see. Oh, let's see. Cafe Press. Neil, I'm not sure about your question. Now, Jose says he's setting up his first dipole, inverted V, 80 meters, center pole 12 meters. Is it okay to put the ends 2 meters above the ground? Absolutely it is, and you should. Because you don't want people walking into something that's hot. Okay. Should the last meter of the center be non-metallic? When you get the thing down, let me draw you a picture here. When you're putting up an inverted V, there's a couple things to keep in mind. Okay, you've got an antenna like this. You've got an insulator here. You've got your cable coming up like this, or is he doing unfed? This works very well end fed too. You want this to be 2 meters is a good height above ground, or about 6 feet. And you're going to have this down here, but you want something so that a pet or a child or somebody, a friend, anybody, doesn't grab this while it's hot, because the high voltage end of the antennas is at the end, and you can get a nasty little RF burn off of those things there. So that's why you want that up in the air. Let's see, I think he said how high? 30 meters, 20 meters. Okay, 20 meters is 66 feet. Okay, which is a very nice height for that. You'll do well with that. You ideally want this angle right here to be about 120 degrees, and certainly no less than 90. Okay. Thank you, Dave, for your advice regarding the mic gain and compression of my 7300. A few weeks ago, improved the responses to my calls immensely, even over Greenland. I'm on Cape Cod in Massachusetts. Stephen, I am really happy to hear that worked well for you. Dave, who makes the spider beam antenna, and do they have a website? Lots of people, lots of people make the spider beam. MFJ makes one. There are a number of other manufacturers. If you just let's just go into the screen here, and we'll search for spider beam. Okay. We've got www.spiderbeam.com. Okay. Let's see who else makes one. Vibraplex sells it. That's weird. EHAM's got some reviews for that type of antenna. Okay. Images for spider beam. Spider beam antenna homemade, spider beam versus hex beam. Let's take a look at spider beam. Different people call it different things. For example, MFJ calls it a hex beam. Okay, here's the picture here. Doesn't show you a bigger picture. Home documents online. Oh, here, pictures and reports. Okay, none of these pictures are very good. Let's see. Oh, and that's not showing. I'm sorry. Let's see if I can stick that up. Now that won't go on there. Okay, but anyway, you get the idea. It's a hex beam. It's hexagonal. It's six-sided, and they're two-element beams. They're two-element beams and quite nice. They're one thing to recall about a spider beam. Okay, they're huge. Because it's a two-element beam. Yeah, it's kind of wrapped in a little bit. They're also heavy, and you need a rotator with it. So instead of using my usual thing where I use 2 chain link fence top rail pieces end to end for 20-foot high something, I went down to Recla Metals, which is a recycling company down in Montrose, and purchased a one single stick, a 20-foot piece of pipe. It's aluminum. It's schedule 40 aluminum, so it's thick. It's just like schedule 40 1-inch plastic pipe. It's thick. And this aluminum is what I used as the mast for the hex beam, because my usual arrangement would not be heavy enough. Kind of worried about that a little bit with this latest 73 antennas. It's Cobweb antenna. It is very sturdy and seems like it might need a sturdier mast than what I've been using. Let's see. It wants a TPM module. Now the TPM, the trusted, that I got, that I made work. There were two problems with the trusted computing and secure boot. Trusted computing I got fixed. That was a setting in the BIOS. The foil and the magnet cannot reach the metal under the paint. Modern mag-mount antennas couple through the coax shield to ground. Okay, whatever. I imagine it's made in several different ways. My John Ward said my HOA antenna for 10 meters is working, and I worked Puerto Rico this past Sunday. Very good. Al Wilson says, welcome to Microsoft. Yes, KE0OG. Let's see, Andy Cowley. Hard drive needs to be GUI. Yeah, there's that issue, and I didn't want to mess with it at that point. That got a little too risky for me. Try X-Plane. I've got X-Plane. The problem with X-Plane is scenery. The world, and now remember, we live out here in the middle of nowhere. Okay, so our little airport, Delta Airport, is a sleepy little thing. It's got a single 5,500 foot runway, and if there's one other plane in the pattern, it's a busy day. But anyway, I've tried it. It has that airport in there, but the scenery's so flat, I have no visual reference. So I need something like Microsoft Flight Simulator where there's a visual reference. So Harry Rundle has put in $10 into chat revenue. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I've also got the Lockheed one, P3P or P3D. That's the Lockheed one. And the default airplane it gives you is a tail dragger, and I keep doing ground loops every time I try to take the thing off. So, one thing I did find with X-Plane was I could set myself up so I was just starting final and come in and do that one part, that 30 seconds that it takes you to get down there. Just do it over and over and over and over again. That was very nice. So the problem with practicing landings, and I had some really good practice with landings on Tuesday. I got one of my older flight instructors and we did a bunch of landings, was that the thing that I'm, learning is that as you come down at 70 miles an hour freeway speeds, as you come down, you pull the stick back at just the right point and let it settle down onto the ground with the nose just a little in the air. Okay, that's a few seconds. But then it takes you 5 to 10 minutes to go all the way around the pattern so that you can get 10 seconds more practice. And just drives me nuts because, anyway. KF7P entry boxes are excellent and even has a slot for a grounding strip. Yes. Harry Rundle says he enjoys the videos as always. Thank you, Harry. Al Wilson, KN6OJX. What protects your home? The Rottweiler in the bedroom, of course. We live in an interesting area. I learned from the Louisville police when my house was burgled that they always go for a place where there's 2 exits. And they want to pick a house that's close to the main road so they can be, and what they do is they bust open the door, go in, open the garage door, park their car, close the garage door, fill it all up, leave the garage door open, and go out, and they're on the main road, they're gone. Nobody can find them. Okay. Now, very different here. There's only one way in. And that's bad from a fire point of view, because you really need 2 ways out. But there's only one way in. It's a very old subdivision. There's only about 8 or 9 homes up here. And the insurance company, for fire reasons, has insisted that our home be alarmed. And so I pay the alarm bill for the fire, but it also has illegal entry and stuff like that. They say it's universal. They come in the windows, go out the doors. So only the doors have to be alarmed. I'm going, but they're leaving. Well, yeah, the police can't get here that fast anyway, so you can, you know, at least you know something happened. Okay, any difference between a hex beam and a cobweb other than vertical separation? Watching the cobweb installation anxiously. The cobweb antenna is a unity gain antenna. Those are dipoles that are nested in there. They take a dipole, kind of shape it into a square with the ends about that far apart. And you've got 40 all the way through 10 on the one thing there. And the new video coming out real soon, I don't think Callum has put it together yet, but we did the assembly of the cobweb on yesterday. And so that'll be up fairly soon. And then I'm trying to decide whether I want to go with my classic mast or get another of those aluminum poles. Problem with aluminum poles is 20 feet long. How do you get it home? But we'll figure out a way to get that in there. And it's almost a quasi-permanent installation, is I'll be using 3-foot stakes, to attach the guy rope, which reminds me I need to order more guy rope. It's black and UV resistant and will hold up about 500 pounds. And it's just like a 1/4 inch thick. Very nice stuff. Okay, anyway, so a cobweb is a unity gain antenna. Let me show you on the overhead. I got this to work again today. Okay, here's a cobweb. It's square, and I'll show you. And you've got booms out here like this, and then there's a central point where all the wires come from. So you've got one wire going like this, and it comes to right there. This one goes out like that and comes to right there. And then you go all the way out here to 40 meters, which goes all the way around to there, and then from there back to there. So these are dipoles, and there are several of them, all folded back on themselves. It's about a unity gain, maybe not quite as good as a dipole, but it looks like a clothesline. Now the cobweb, or the spider beam, the hex beam, is 6-sided. Okay, and you have, coming from the center out to here, trying to remember just how they do this. It comes all the way around and back to here, and the other side is right here, so it's a loop. And then they have a director for it over here. And they layer these things, starting with the smallest one going up to the top. And it's a British invention, and works really well. It's like having a beam. And the problem with having a beam means you've got to rotate it and do all of that sort of stuff like that. Okay, any difference? Let's see. Hi from Oklahoma City. Hi. Neil Marsh, Cafe Press is one of the outfits that will print just about anything on anything, like logos. Oh, okay. I don't want to handle my own merch. I have enough trouble handling the videos. I used to sell thumb drives with the lessons on them, the videos on them. And while that was nice income, it sure took a lot of time. And I have found out that there's an issue with, it's just time. It's just time. So now the league has leased my videos from me to cover the loss in revenue of doing the thumb drives. And so they've taken my videos and made them their videos by means of a contractual lease, okay, which I get paid for. And then I also do the Ask Dave column, which pays some. I mean, what the league pays me is not enough to live on, but, and I'm not a league employee. I am, what do they call it, associate editors or something like that. You know, I'm just a stringer, something there. Okay, GE from Ontario. I'll have to look at Cafe Press there, VE3ORK. Sunwave is a shortwave listener. Sub to the channel to see if I could adopt ideas for shortwave antennas. There are antennas, and I'll show you one that is recent at Chameleon. Chameleon antennas. Let's see, we've got to go to the screen, don't we? Okay, Chameleon antennas has, well, they've got transmit, featured products. Here's their receive loop right here. This is a receive loop. Now, note the price on it. It's expensive. But it is a loop. It's about 3 feet in diameter. And down here, it's got a little preamp on the thing, okay? And that's what the thing looks like. I did a video on this recently. They've got a new preamp. That's the new preamp. They were going to send me a new preamp, but I haven't seen it yet. And this gives you the gain for the different frequencies. It'll go way up here to 6 meters. And then it also gives you VLF way down here at 100 kilohertz. Okay, so this is one of the antennas. Now, MFJ makes one like it. W6LVP, is it? Makes one. There are a number of them. They are receive-only antennas if you want to pay money for that sort of thing. Another thing that you can do, go to normal view. Another thing that you can do is just throw a long wire out there. That works pretty well too. Okay, what is the name and the company of the antenna I was just unboxing in one of the latest videos? It is in now it is, in the text that accompanies the video, and it is this address right here, 73 antennas, note the plural, .com. Okay, it's an Australian company, but they've got some distribution thing where they can do it in the United States if you go to them. Okay, there is, oh yes, the Buddy Pole has a Hex Beam out there now too. I saw that at Pacificon. They had just announced it. What math formulas did Maxwell use to express his electromagnetic radiation equations? I don't have his original equations. N0QFT is asking. It's a very interesting story. Maxwell, James Clerk Maxwell, put a series of 21 equations together to explain everything that was known at the time about electromagnetism. Okay, and he used quaternions and stuff like that, and they were very cumbersome. So there's a guy by the name of Oliver Heaviside. Let's go to Wikipedia. I want to screen. Okay. Go to Wikipedia, and we'll go to Maxwell's equations. Okay. These are vector calculus. Okay. The equations are... come on, stop that. In SI unit convention, here they are right here. These are his equations in differential equation format. Okay, these are vector equations, and they do involve imaginary space and so on. But there's Gauss's law for magnetism, Maxwell Faraday, and Ampere's circuit law. Okay, and one of these currents, and I can't remember which one it is, I think it might be this one, is called the displacement current. And it was this displacement current that caused a lot of issue because people could not conceptualize a displacement current. What is a displacement current? Where are the electrons? Where are they moving? Well, it is been proven that it is physically there and that the equation is correct. But for most people, like the ARRL has a book on antenna physics, and they present these equations, and then these equations there. Present these equations right here, these, and explain them in very simple terms. Note the dot, and a cross, and a cross. These are dot products and cross products, and they're vector types of things. This is the permeability, the mu zero. The electric field is a three-dimensional field, okay, and they're looking at the change in the three-dimensional field in time with the electrical conductance. I'm not sure what it's called. This is the displacement current. Okay, over here, and these are saying, in effect, that the curl, one of these is the curl, of the electric field equates to two constants. And I can't remember what they all are. I mean, you've got to be pretty hairy into antenna physics to worry about those, but they are there if you want to use them. So, let's see. Comes out at Easter. What math formulas? Those are the math formulas that Heaviside, who was an even more interesting person, Heaviside derived from Maxwell's equations. Maxwell's equations are not used in their original format. They're not wrong, but there's 21 of them, whereas there's only 4 in Heaviside's formation. Bloody Pole Hex Beam, yes, comes out at Easter, okay. Good evening, Dave. Is it fairly easy to make a homebrew 10-meter Yagi? Yes, you can. You've got to get aluminum tubing. Play games with aluminum tubing so it'll hold itself up and rotate it and so on. I am armchair pilot in FSX Steam. Yeah, I haven't quite figured out what Team is. MSFS 2020 works on Win 10. Not sure why you can't run it. And it may run now because I solved the problem with the trusted computing module. I solved that. I got it turned on. But I didn't want to download it, try it, and go through what I did last time, which I returned it for a refund. They happily returned my money within like 10 minutes. So you need to fly in visual reality. That'd be fun. Sometimes Win 11 requires UEFI instead of BIOS. My BIOS is a UEFI. Okay. Details will vary with your motherboard maker. So I found the trusted computing module and turned it on. Okay, but this weird thing, it was a UEFI, some weird something, could never find anything to make it work. Please repeat the advice concerning the ICOM 7300. Well, it is the reference radio. It's part of the reference station. I really like mine. You can connect it to your computer with a single USB port and do anything with it. You Win for ICOM or the ICOM software, whatever, just communicates everything over that port. Now, one of the nice things about it is, unlike the Signal Link, I've got a Signal Link here. Maybe that should be a giveaway coming up. The Signal Link has is powered by the computer, whereas the in the 7300, the sound card is powered by the 7300. Okay, so the only connection between the radio and the computer is a twisted pair, which is serial, and it is balanced. Okay, so it's a balanced connector, so you don't get hum or anything like that in between the two. So I've got my computer stuff here, got my radio stuff here, and the only thing that connects the two is a USB cable, just the one. Okay, I hope that's what you were looking for, Charles. Let me know if you wanted more. No two trips around the pattern exactly the same, boy, isn't that the truth? In fact, Dennis, my teacher Dennis, who's supposed to be the dean of flight instructors around here, says, would you stop worrying about the altitude and just worry about hitting the runway? And he has actually taken his papers and put them over the instrument panel so that I'll do the whole approach just looking outside. And believe it or not, it is possible to do that. And I made it. We have discovered, we've been trying to figure out what's the secret for landing this aircraft without clunk. And the secret is that you land at the same speed you take off at. When we take off at 70 miles an hour, when it hits 70, pull back on the stick, you go in the sky and you climb. It actually will take off about 50. But if it takes off at 50, I just hold it in ground effect till I'm up to 70, and then I go on up. And then you come around and cut the engine speed back to 1500 RPM, which is not idle. It's got a little bit of forward thrust on it. And you land at 70. And you come down and you pull out just above the ground, okay, and the propeller's still spinning 1500, which is definitely not enough to take off. And so you're going to slow down a lot, and you just let it settle onto the ground, and that's the secret. So, all kinds of things. Any computer 5-10 years old should have a BIOS EFI option built in. Nothing extra to buy. I built this computer, by the way. Thanks again for videos. Tony, thank you very much. He's got to go, and we've got just a few minutes here. We also have a wireless alarm medical panic button in every room or hall. That's something that we may need to get. I mean, my wife and I are 70, and that's not the total between the two of us. We're 70, and so we're getting to the point where I'm really afraid of a fall. I have been having some balance issues, and I did fall on some ice a year ago and ended up in a wheelchair for a month with that. Yeah. Another thing to do is to put, if you've got a wired phone, put one wired phone on the floor so you can crawl to it. By the way, it should have USCS. Mine is, if I set the parameters to UEFI or EUFI, where did that go? It will UEFI. If I set that option, it won't boot. It will come right back around to the BIOS page and insist on being changed. So there's something missing somewhere. Optical Man Jeff has added $15 to the chat revenue, so we're up to $35. Thank you. He says, thanks, Dave. Let's see, we've got 73, Mr. OG from VA2HET from Quebec. Okay. Let's see. Sally Sparks has the W6 LVP loop, and it works really great. This again is a receive-only loop. And I've got one. I've got one here. And it's not $500 either. Says I cut one for a quarter wavelength of 14. It does fine. But that 3-foot loop looks tempting for space restrictions. Yes, and it has a preamp in it, which you have to power. And it covers the whole HF band. What happened? My picture's frozen. It looks good here. Ollie H was a classic piece of work, wasn't he? Ollie H. Oh, Oliver Heaviside, yes. He was a piece of work. He's a member of the Royal Society. He was the only member of the Royal Society whose papers had to be peer-reviewed before they would be published, because people couldn't understand his notation. He invented a notation for calculus which we use to this day. It's not the original notation. That goes all the way back to Newton, who developed the calculus. And but there's some things that he put in to calculus that have expanded the bounds of our understanding of electromagnetic fields enormously. Okay, Sridev Kodachath says, hey Dave, I spent hours watching your videos preparing for my general class exam. Recently received my license. And this is Victor Uniform 2, India. Japan Whiskey Echo. From India. Well, I congratulate you on your license. It's about 12 and a half hours different there, so it's mid-afternoon for you. But congratulations on your license, very much. Charles says hello. Al Wilson says the club net's about to start, so we'll see you later. Optical Man Jeff, how much better is the 7610 over the 7300? How much better is a Cadillac versus a Chevy? I don't know. I got to tell you, I used a 7610. It was Brad Rich's for a while, and for I think a little longer than he wanted me to. I can tell you that's one fabulous radio. It is not a beginner's radio. In fact, I had a beginner write to me saying that it was a monster to figure out. But, oh, gee, what a sweet radio. Every feature on earth. It's got two separate receivers, transmitters in it. It's just amazing what you can do with that thing. But it's also thousands of dollars. Okay, let's see. It's just a YouTube server. Oh, they never admit it, but yeah, they do. Charles, say thank you. I use the 7300 for digital work and would swear by it. It is a wonderful radio. Life and thank you. Brian Shanahan, be careful, Dave. Yeah, the older I get. Apple Watch is great, detects falls, and you can make a call from it. That's nice. Good evening, Dave. Love your videos. This is from Victor Echo 1 of Foxtrot Sierra Mike in Canada. Life and Death sounds like your smooth landing speed is actually transitioning and using ground effect for smooth landings. Yeah, it is. It's giving us very nice smooth landings. On Tuesday, we talked it all over, got it all set up, and 3 of the 4 landings were just really nice. And one of them was almost nice. But we're getting there. Here's a hello from the Front Range from Tom Frerich, KE0OG. What kind of oil go into a gallon of antenna inside a dummy load? You can either do transformer oil if you can get it. You might be able to get it from your utility, your electric utility. You'd have to go down to where they have their shops. Or mineral oil. And you can probably go to Home Depot and buy a gallon of mineral oil for not very much. Or you can go to the drugstore and buy it in quarts. But Mine is filled with mineral oil. Now, one problem with mineral oil, it creeps. And every so often I have to wipe off the top of my antenna because the mineral oil will creep up the side through the seal and out onto the top of the can lid. And every few years I have to open it up and add a little bit of mineral oil in because the stuff creeps. Nasty stuff. It's not nasty stuff. I mean, it's harmless. It's harmless stuff. Mineral oil. A lot of people take it as a laxative. But it does make everything oily. That's for sure. Okay. Hello from the Front Range. David Bono, what kind of oil? Felipe Lewis puts $50 into the chat revenue. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. He says, appreciate your videos. Hear that the BBC is turning on their shortwave transmitter for the news for the people in Ukraine. Primarily, actually, for Russia. They're transmitting in English. They're trying to get the news to the people in Russia. There was even a story on the newscast of somebody in Ukraine talking to a relative in Russia who wouldn't believe that they were actually at war, even though you could hear the sounds in the background, because the Russian propaganda is so, they're telling their own people what they want them to believe. This is the same kind of thing that was done during World War II. So anyway, they've dusted off these old Cold War era shortwave broadcasters or transmitters and are broadcasting there. Can we hear it here? Maybe. You have to look and see what the frequencies are. Usually you can hear like the 40 meter-ish stuff at night. Okay. I know why 50 ohm cable exists, same 75 and 300 loop dipole. What's the story behind 450? I think the old open wire line was 600. The old Bell system standard for transmission wiring is 600 ohms. And the cables that they put with the lazily wound wire is 600 ohms. And 450 was just when they made some ribbon cable, made the 300 ohm ribbon cable wider, and they cut some windows in it to cut down on the amount of plastic. It just turned out to be 450. And it's very popular, very common. It's relatively easy to work with. It's usually got a solid conductor. And I can't work with that stuff without stabbing myself with that stupid conductor. So anyway, many new cell phones also have fall detection in their setup option. If it detects a hard fall, it counts down to 30 seconds, then places emergency calls if you haven't canceled them. Yeah, I've run into that problem with my phone here. This is an Apple 12. And I put it in my pocket with the flat side facing my skin, because when I tried putting it in the other way, I actually cracked it. If you look right there, you can see the crack, and it's got crack marks going out here, but it's insured. I should turn it in and get another one, but the screensaver is holding it in place. But I've had now 4 times. This thing is called 911. And every time I've been driving. And the 911 people have been very understanding, a lot more understanding than I thought they might be. But I'm going to have to get a sleeve or something like that. But yeah, if it can detect a real fall, that is a nice thing. Okay, yeah, we are running out of time. Flaring, ground effect, and summer density altitude at your altitude. Yeah, it can get high here. BBC versus Russian jamming. Well, it takes some time to set up a jammer. So if you are frequency agile, you can move around the jamming. MFJ sells refills for dummy loads. I haven't seen that, but maybe. Very good. I mean, the oil that they ship is definitely non-toxic. So, okay. My Heathkit dummy load came with transformer oil. The top is always dry. I have to see if I can get some. Okay, magnet mount antennas are ground connected through capacitive coupling. Mine has rubber on the bottom. Yeah, I had somebody say that some other models just use the shield on the coax as the counterpoise. At this point in the solar cycle, we should hear that transmitter because backscatter is also reflected by the ionosphere. Yeah, and they pump a lot of power into that, like 100,000 watts. They have X-Plane on iPhone and has full global scenery as well as tutorials for IFR, VOR. Oh, that's pretty good. I'll have to look at that. Although this is about the size of maybe 2 instruments on the panel. So there we go. Okay, we are out of time. I greatly appreciate that everybody checks in. We had about 150 concurrent viewers. Let's see what the peak was, 152. Okay, and David Elkins has added $5 to the channel funds. We're up to $90. That's KI5TGK. He says, howdy. Thank you very, very much. So, let's see. Send those cards and letters coming, okay? And look at dcasler.com/giveaway. And you send like a QSL card in to me or in an envelope or just on a single sheet of paper, or you can even use a plain old-fashioned, where have I got one here? No, I didn't see one right there. Postcard. You can actually still buy postcards. And that's the cheapest way to do it, to send it to me. And the instructions are all at dcasler.com/giveaway. And this is this month's giveaway. A very nice, cool antenna analyzer. Okay, so I'm going to say 73, and until we next meet, 73.